Hello and welcome back. In this video, we will explore the various control flow statements and loops available in the Solidity to control the execution of the smart contracts. We will cover if statements, loops, and break and continue statements. Let's start with loops. Loops are used when you need to perform an action repeatedly. Solidity provides three types of loops to make your programming task easier. We have while loop, we have do while loop, and also we have for loop. Let's start with the while loop. The while loop is the most basic loop in Solidity. It executes a block of code repeatedly as long as the specified condition is true. Once the condition becomes false, the loop terminates. So as you can see here, this is the syntax of the while loop. We have a while, then we have a condition. And after that, if this condition is true, we have either a statement or a block of code. Here we have this example that demonstrates the usage of while loop to initialize an array. So we have a contract, and in this contract, we declare a dynamic array called data, and also we declare a state variable called j, and we assign 0 as initialize value, and also we have a function, which is loop function. In this function, we have a while loop. This while loop increments the j, which is the variable j here, and append its value to data, which is the array, until j is less than 5. So we have j. If j is less than 5, append the value of the j to the array. And after that, return the data, which is the array. So as you can see here, we have this output. Now let's move to talk about do while loop. The do while loop is similar to the while loop, except that the condition check happens at the end of the loop. This means that the loop will always execute at least once, even if the condition is initially false. As you can see here, this is the syntax of the do while loop. So we have do, then a statement or block of a statement, and after that we have a while condition. Here's an example that demonstrates the usage of the while loop. We have the same example, which is this contract. We have dynamic array, and also we have a j as a state variable, and we have a function. But the loops here will be do while. So what will happen here? In this function, we use do while loop, and it increments j and append its value to the data array until j is less than 5. But the loop will always execute at least one before checking the condition. So the output will be, as you can see here, from 0 to 4. From 0 to 4. Now let's talk about the for loop. The for loop is the most compact way of looping in Solidity. It takes 3 arguments, separated by semicolons: initialization, condition, and iteration statement. As you can see here, this is the syntax for loop. So we have a for, then we have initialization, then we have a test, and we have iteration, then we have a statement or block of code. If the for loop is true, or the condition is true. Here's an example that demonstrates the usage of for loop. In this example, we have the same example, but the difference here is the function. In this function, we use for loop. The for loop initializes the variable I to 0, check if the I is less than 5, and increment I by 1 in each iteration. And the loop also appends a value of I to the data array, and then return the result, which is the dynamic array, which is data. So as you can see here, this is the output. Now, let's explore the decision-making statement, which allow your contract to make decisions and execute different code blocks based on certain conditions. Actually, Solidity provides decision-making statements to control the flow of the execution based on certain conditions. Let's explore the if statement and its variations. The if statement is the most basic conditional statement. It executes a block of code if the specified condition is true, as you can see here in the syntax. So we have if, and then we have a condition, and after that we have either statement or block of code to be executed if the condition is true. Here's the example for if statement. As you can see here, we have a contract, and also we have a state variable. We declare a state variable, which is I, assign 10 as initialized value. Then we have a function. In this function, we have if statement. If this if statement will check if the variable I is less than 10, then return true. So since I is equal to 10, the condition here will be false. So the function doesn't return anything, as you can see here in the output. We have other variation of if statement, which is if-else statement. The if-else statement provides a way to execute different blocks of code based on the condition. As you can see here in the syntax, if the condition is true, the code inside the if block is executed. Otherwise, the code inside the else block will be executed. Here is an example of for if-else statement. Actually, we have the same example with some modification. So we declare even as a Boolean, and also we have already a state variable, which is I, and we have we assign initialized value, which is 10. So then we have a function. In this function, we have if statements. So the if-else statement in this function check if the variable I is even. It means if I is divisible by 2, and the remainder will be 0 for sure, the even is set to true. The even will set to true. Otherwise, the even will set to false. And here we have 10, which is even. So the even here will be true, as you can see here as an output. Moving to other variation of if statement, which is if-else statement. This statement allows you to check multiple conditions and execute different blocks of code based on those conditions. So the syntax of else of this statement is if we have a condition 1, the code to be executed if one condition is true. Then we have else if we should check other condition, which is condition number 2. If it is true, we have a statement or a block of code to be executed if this condition is true. What about if the condition 1 and condition 2 are false? What will happen? The statement or block of code here and else will be executed. Here an example that demonstrates the usage of this statement. So here we have a contract. We have I, which is a state variable, and we assign 10 as initialized value. And also we have a variable. We declare a variable, a string variable, which is result. And then we have a function. In this function, we will check if the I is less than 10, the result will be the result, which is the variable, the string variable will be less than 10. If it is false, then we have else if. We will check another condition, which is if I equal to 10, it means the result will be equal to 10. Otherwise, the result will be greater than 10. And then return the result. So here, I equal to 10, it means the result will be equal to 10. Finally, let's discuss the break and continue statement, which offer more control. Let's start with the break statement. The break statement is used to terminate a loop or switch statement. When encountered, it immediately exits the loop and transfers the control to the next statement after the loop. Here we have this example. In this example, we have the same example. In this function, we have a while loop. In this while loop, J will be incremented and append its value to the data array, But when J becomes equal to 3, the break statement is encountered and loop is terminated. So the data array will contain the value 1 and 3. Then stop. What about continue statement? The continue statement is used to skip the remaining code within the loop for the current iteration and move to the next iteration. We have this example, the same example. Here, the loop continues the next iteration here. If J equal to 3, actually the loop will skip this iteration and come back to the other iteration. So the output here will be 1, true. If J equal to 3, skip this iteration, come back to the other iteration, or the next iteration, which is 4, then complete. This is the continue statement. And that concludes our exploration of control flow in Solidity. Thank you for joining us and stay tuned for more exciting Solidity tutorials.